We've made it. Welcome to London for the final stage of this year's Tour of Britain. It's been a very tough week of racing, but the sun is out. The legs are going to be tired amongst the pros, especially after yesterday's double efforts in Bristol. As if the hilly 15-kilometre circuit of Bristol wasn't difficult enough, the weather did the riders no favours as they prepared for Saturday morning's time trial. Early on, Bradley Wiggins made clear his intentions, starting the race against the clock on his road bike. Sporting the stripes of national TT champion Alex Dowsett put down an impressive early marker, finishing the course in 18 minutes and 41 seconds to get his place in the Alpecin hot seat. BMC's Taylor Phinney looked set to push Dowsett off the top until he crashed on a slippery left-hander. Another national champ did break Dowsett's grasp though, and with interest. Tony Martin would blow the field out of the water with a time of 18 minutes and 6 seconds. Rowan Dennis, the former hour record holder and current Australian champion, came within 3 seconds of Martin. An Olympic silver medalist and Dutch champion Dumoulin was only 2 seconds slower. Steve Cummings only had a 49-second cushion to play with over Dumoulin, so would he lose any time? The answer was yes, but not much, so would keep the yellow jersey for the afternoon circuit race. But Tony Martin would lap up the glory of a hard-fought and impressive time trial win. So a 6-lap race on the nearly 15-kilometre circuit would give Steve Cummings another headache in his efforts to keep hold of the yellow jersey. A break soon formed of Greipel, Boy van Poppel, Gorka Izagirre and Diego Rubio. The mentioned data sat on the front of the chasing group, content that the men up the road weren't a threat to the yellow jersey. As the laps came down, the break would ride through to take the Yodel Sprint and Skoda King of the Mountains points. Anything left in that competition was picked up again by Wanty Group Gobet's Xandro Maurice, who would claim the jersey outright at the end of the day. 12 Ks out and the gorilla jumped, Andre Greipel attacking his mates in the breakaway. It didn't last long, and then Gorka Izagirre would do the same. Knocking 7 bells out of each other didn't work for the breakaway, and finally, with just a handful of kilometres left, they were reeled in. The bunch was looking at each other who was going to jump first, and for the win, it was Rowan Dennis of BMC.
He's looking for the line, and he will give the victory salute to win the stage, collect the 6-second bonus, and elevate himself up into second place overall by right. He does that.
So here's what the general classification looks like after the 2 stages in Bristol, and Steve Cummings defending his yellow jersey presented by Iceberg very well. He's sure to hold on to it after the London stage. Rowan Dennis, that famous win, securing perhaps a podium place for him on 26 seconds back. And Tom Dumoulin, a strong time trial, means he should be on the podium in London as well. Tony Galopin is in 4th, and former winner of the Tour Dylan van Baarle rounds out the top 5. Let's hear more now from the riders themselves.
It's been quite an unpredictable Tour of Britain this year, with a lot of breakaways staying away till the end.
Yeah, I think when you look with 6-man teams and it's always hard, even if it looks like a flat today, it's up and down here and heavy roads. So yeah, I think it provides a lot of chances for unexpected results and tough days out. But yeah, it's been good.
It's a lot harder than people think to switch from track back to the road, isn't it? How's it been this week coming back?
Yeah, it's really hard because after the gold in Rio, I do 1 week really easy and then I come back straight away. For sure, this one is one hard race to come back on the road, but I absolutely needed this week, this intensive week. We are in a good way. I think the legs are good after this week, and we have a good rhythm on the legs, so we try today.
Yeah, it's been nice. It's been good experience riding with the young GB lads. It's been hard week, very hard week, but yeah, it's been good.
And out on the course, as a British rider, looking at the crowds this week, how proud does it make you to see how big our sport's becoming?
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I think I've spent quite a bit of time in the group out this week with Bradley, and any time he ride past, everyone is shouting "Wiggo, Wiggo, Wiggo," and 5-6 years ago, no one could really, it'd just be a clap at the side of the road and that'd be it. So just to ride along, people cheering, and if you look on like Hay Tour, it's packed from the bottom to the top. It was just, yeah, fantastic.
It is, of course, brilliantly entertaining seeing some of the biggest names of world cycling, Sir Bradley Wiggins and Mark Cavendish, racing on familiar roads. But what's the point if you can't get out there and do something similar yourself? Well, British Cycling is working very hard to help everyone get out on their bikes.
When you ride the bike on the side of the road and you're racing, there's people behind you shouting names, there's writing on the road, everything. Yeah, it's gone crazy.
I don't think any of us could have imagined how big it's got, British cycling. And then you look at the amount of pros now in the peloton, British professional pros. You know, the Yates is up there in the Tour, Chris Froome winning the Tours, Team Skies, and then in this country, how many teams we've got now? Pro teams, it's incredible, really.
Crowds have been amazing, and it's a reflection on how successful cyclists are becoming in this country. What we want, once people are inspired, is people to participate in cycling. And over a period of time, not just take part in a cycling activity maybe once or twice, but turn that into a habit as soon as possible so that become more regular cyclists.
For me, it's incredible to see so many people riding bikes in the UK now, you know, where they're doing it for a hobby, racing, you know, people doing it, families out of a weekend, people commuting, just seeing how many bikes here is. It's great to see that. And I know that's because of the success we've had, both on the track and on the road.
We hope that the success of athletes at the Olympics, and you know, your Cabs, your Armitsteads, your Trots, your Kennys, they inspire people to ride bikes. There's no doubt about it. The evidence is clear. So what we want to do then is make sure that those people that have been inspired have got the opportunity to take part. So we create initiatives like the Go Ride programme, the Breeze programme, the Lead Ride programme, the City Sky Ride programme, etc., as opportunities for people to come participate. Over time, we want that to turn into a lifelong habit.
It was still 7 or so years ago when I got into cycling, and when I started it wasn't something that was popular in school or that many kids knew about, so it was like definitely a fringe sport. And I think now like everyone knows about cycling. There's kids doing it because it's like a cool sport, and it's British people are successful about it, and I think the reception to the sport's really developed over the last few years.
There's no other country at the moment, I don't think, where you get the crowds that you'll get here, and that's saying something coming from Belgium and all the classics. I think it's pretty equal with that, and to be equal with that is huge.
And then moving on to where can they go cycling? Well, we work closely with government, lobbying to the best of our ability in a collegiate fashion with the likes of Sustrans and CTC to encourage more investment from, if you like, the Department for Transport investment in cycling and infrastructure. To get a lifelong habit to the point where you're commuting on a regular basis, not just riding for a recreational pleasure.
My first Tour of Britain was in 1999. I rode the Prudential Tour of Britain. I was 19, and cycling then was a minority sport, and the pros used to come over and wonder why we used to only ride on one side of the road and things like that. So it's, to see where it's come now in 16 years, 17 years, incredible.
I tell you what, it's pretty hot and sweaty riding this circuit. I had to get changed. But Janto, it's been a tough old week for the pros, hasn't it? We've had pretty much all weathers except for snow. They'll be glad to be getting back here into the capital for the final stage.
Everybody's going to be pleased to be here. It's a beautiful day. It's always sunny down south, as I say to all my northern friends.
It's not.
And yeah, I think everyone's going to be really pleased to get to the end of a Tour of Britain because it's some achievement. You know, nowadays these races are so competitive, so hard, that just to get through them is actually an achievement in itself.
The level, not just of the parkour, the stages, but the quality of the riders here has just gone up a notch this year with some real top-notch World Tour pros.
It's very difficult looking at the pictures on screen to really get a feel for just how good and how high the level is, because every single rider here can do, you know, 400 watts plus for, you know, 10, 15 minutes at a time, and so the whole group is just moving at such a fast speed. It gives no perspective, but if anyone here as an amateur or first cat would try and keep up, it would be a completely different ballgame.
The man next to you can do 1400 watts for 4 minutes. Ed Clancy, not racing today, but this is the second year this has been the last stage of the Tour of Britain here in London. What do you make of this circuit? Very technical, isn't it?
Yeah, I've still got nightmares from it from last year. We had promises of getting to a nice pan flat stage in London, big show race, but it was anything but that. It was a horrible circuit. And there are a few little climbs on this circuit which you can't really see on camera, but they're definitely there. But what really makes it hard are the 3 hairpin turns And when you come to a dead standstill, if you're not right at the front of the bunch, there's almost a concertina effect where it all bunches up going into the corner, and whoever's at the front has a big smug face on when they come out the other side, and they sprint out the way, and it's so hard to hang on to the back.
Because of those hairpins and how narrow the circuit is in places, is it hard to move up in the bunch?
It's really hard. So if you're anywhere near the middle or the back of the bunch, you've got that concertina effect, and it's almost like the elastic stretches and stretches and stretches, and you'll see the gaps in the wheels coming out the corners. And by the time those gaps have closed in the wheels down the straight, there's very limited time to move up before the next corner. And of course, doing a big last-minute dive bomb into the corner is a big no-no. So it's hard to move up if you've got any manners.
Can't wait to see the racing. Ed, Jante, thank you both very much. Well, let's have a closer look now at today's circuit here in the West End of London.
For the second time, the West End of London and its world-famous streets provide the Tour's final stage. It starts going up, then down Regent Street, through Piccadilly Circus and Haymarket, then into Trafalgar Square for the first time. At Aldwych, the riders then head back down the Strand, past Nelson's Column again, and down Whitehall. Downing Street is on the left as they go through Trafalgar Square for the third time, then it's Pall Mall, and a long drag up Regent Street again to the start-finish line. Hundreds of thousands of people cycle in London every day, and the Tour of Britain will provide a fantastic opportunity to encourage even more people to start cycling, after being inspired by some of the world's top professionals. Sunday, the 11th of September, will see the Tour of Britain conclude in the heart of London, using the same highly popular circuit as used by the 2015 edition of British Cycling's premier road event. Passing world-famous sites such as Regent Street, Piccadilly Circus and Trafalgar Square on every lap, the circuit is great for spectators looking to see the world's top riders racing on the streets of London. Transport for London is making it easier for people to cycle here every day. TfL offers a range of free advice and products to support cyclists in London. London will soon have even more direct, high-capacity, joined-up cycle routes. There'll be a new and upgraded cycle superhighways and a network of quiet ways for those new to cycling or cyclists looking for a more relaxed journey.
That's more than enough chin wagging from me. Let's get to today's racing now with your commentary, Brian Smith and Hugh Porter.
Well, welcome to the City of London. The weather absolutely fantastic. The riders are here. Sir Bradley Wiggins is here. And everybody's ready for the action. And that is the final stage of the Tour of Britain. A time to get a selfie, a time to get a picture. And the whole field ready to go. There is Taylor Phinney, mustachioed Taylor Phinney. But look at the face of concentration on Steve Cummings. Stand by, they'll be rolling away. There it is, the official start of the final stage. Stage 8 of the Tour of Britain gets underway. And believe me, there's going to be some fireworks.
Yeah, a nice sunny day and temperatures high into the early mid-20s. So off the race goes, and it's Lotto NL Jumbo in the yellow kits leading the way. Jay Thompson also up there, but it's an attack straight away by Madison Genesis.
As expected, and look who's going with the Madison Genesis rider. It's Jasper Bovenhaus, who rides on the An Post Chain Reaction team. Now this man is out to retain the lead in the Yodel Sprint competition. On day one, he picked up all 3 sprints, and you can see straight away what his game plan is. He's ridden throughout the whole of the race, saturated with intelligence, looking at the key moves where he can keep a stranglehold on that jersey.
Well, they're happy straight away, fanning across the roads, just like we've seen on other occasions. And it looks as if Taylor Phinney's got himself in the move. Tom Stewart, Gabs Colleague, I think the other rider was, and as you mentioned, Bovenhaus.
Yeah, Bovenhaus, he's always there, isn't he? Very vigilant. He watches who's slipping off down the road, and he's not going to let anybody go clear with that. The first sprint actually comes lap 4, so if he could nip away here and nail 3 points on lap 4, that could give him a margin of victory. Depends, of course, who challenges for the others. But this looks good. 4 riders already going away. Taylor Phinney, a man who's been 4th in the time trial and the road race at the Olympic Games, and a former world champion for the individual pursuit. So he's got good track speed, and we've got these 4 riders already beginning to distance themselves.
One team that's not happy about this is the team of NFTO, trying to fire a rider across, but he's propped on the fronts, and just looking at another attack coming down the outside from Bardiani.
So Bardiani trying to get in the mix as well, the Italian squad. And they've got Ruffoni, who's a good sprinter on that team. And they're all pretty handy bike riders. Bongiorno yesterday was on the attack, and Zardini is a climber, but okay, he can pull if he wants to get his man near the front for the sprint. That's the aerial shot then of the leaders. We'll confirm the other two names in a moment, but we've got Taylor Phinney and Bovenhaus, the last two sitting in the 4, but it's not very much the advantage at the moment.
Well, we got a faller in the one of the corners there.
Let's have a look at this. As they're coming round the corner, it's a Bardiani rider, and I think the rider behind him overcooks the corner. It looks like a Movistar rider, has to put his foot down, and then behind, more riders are in trouble. This is the leading group of 4. Gabs Calais, Jasper Bovenhaus, Taylor Phinney and Tom Stewart coming up to the line to start lap 4, the first Yodel sprint of the race. Settling down nicely, almost like a team pursuit. Still on the front, it is the Orica Bike Exchange team. It's got a couple of silver medal winners from the Olympics in there from the team pursuit. Once again through Trafalgar Square. And we're getting near to the first sprint. But I think that it'll be uncontested. I get a feeling they'll ride through. And because it's Bovenhaus, the leader, that's the man that's got everything to gain. The rest, well, they're not in contention in that particular contest. There is Cummings being looked after very nicely by the squad. Now here we are then, look for Bovenhaus, just as I said. To the front then Bovenhaus goes, he's looking for the 3 points. This will tidy up the overall standings. He cannot be beaten now. So Jasper Bovenhaus on the An Post team is the winner of the Yodel Sprint competition. So just as he set out to achieve, he has done it, and in style.
You know, nice to see some of the kind of smaller teams, third division teams coming here and coming away with something.
Official result then confirmed. Jasper Bovenhaus gets the 3 points from Gabs Calais and Tom Stewart, and that means that Bovenhaus is the outright winner. Welcome back. Back with the peloton. So 2 continental teams in this front 4. There you can see the team effort, can't you, that's being made by Dimension Data. Yogi Bear's come up to the front as well now. Ian Stannard. He'll be getting himself involved in the chase towards the end. A little more caution here needs to be shown when you've got a bunching effect. JLT Condor starting to come through on the extreme left. This is the start of the 2nd sprint lap in the Yodel Sprint competition, which I've already said is now won finally by Bovenhaus. 9 laps to go, 9 laps remaining. Remember, it's 2 laps more than it was 12 months ago, this final leg. There's Rowan Dennis in that blue jersey, Chain Reaction Cycles points jersey. Again, Rowan Dennis, a man from the track background. I think he was a world champion in the team pursuit, if I remember correctly. Quite a whimsical interview the other day from Ed Clancy when he said, let's hope he doesn't come back onto the tracks.
Don't think he's fast enough now with this gap creeping up to near a minute. James Shaw, the 20-year-old that rides for Lotto Soudal, he's a trainee. He's got a 2-year contract.
As we see Lotto Soudal on the front of the group. They'll be thinking about the sprint at the end, and of course trying to tee up Andre Greipel for a tilt at his 2nd stage victory of the race, having clinched the first one in Castle Douglas. So if he does that, of course, he could provide the winning bookends of this tour. And it's edging nearer to a minute, 55 seconds. That is definitely the biggest lead they've had. Will Bovenhaus just ride through? Here we are, there it is. Face of concentration from Steve Cummings. And Mark Cavendish just tucked in the wheel there, in the wings in case he needs any help at all. The Manx missile, who will have an excellent chance of winning a second set of stripes at the World Champs in October. It's a flat course. It's not often that courses come round that can suit sprinters, but that'll be the one for Cav. Bovenhaus dancing on the pedals at the front of the group, looking as though he wants to get another 3 points. He does, so he takes the 3 from Stevens and Finney. And we've got 8 more laps to go. Commissaire standing out of the car there. I can never quite work out why they have to do that.
Yeah, I'm the same here. I don't understand. It's a job that I don't want to do as a referee for race.
I don't understand why they need to stand out. But there we are, they do. Maybe they like to get on television.
Maybe it's the sponsor of one of the Tour of Britain is Alpecin. So maybe it's to show the nice hair, I don't know.
Yeah, my hair is groomed by Alpecin. Yeah, that's a good line, Brian. Yeah. So we've had 2 sprints, and Jasper Bovenhaus has won both sprints. He's the leader of the Yodel Sprint competition. 48 kilometers to go. 52 seconds the lead for the 4. And we confirm the result for you. Bovenhaus from Stewart, from Finney. Well, Lotto Soudal now coming through. They're in 3rd position, as you can see. Lotto NL Jumbo is there as well. Of course, they got a big sprinter with Dylan Groenewegen, the Dutch champion. We'll be going through all the sprinters in the closing lap, when we're assuming, of course, the 4 will have been swept up. That's generally what happens. The urgency creeps into the delivery of the peloton, and the speed gets higher, and that's when advantages are wiped away. Be a little bit careful grabbing bottles here at this quite speed, high speed. But it is very hot today, Brian, very warm in the city, and they will be consuming a lot of liquid.
There is, and it's often when you come into London, it feels a lot warmer. It's very still outside, and the reflection of the the buildings and the windows and things like that makes it somewhat hotter. So this race is kind of hotting up slowly. Taylor Finney still doing some big turns in the front. Crashed in the time trial. You can see the bandage or the plaster on his knee there. Unfortunately, it wasn't the stage 1 that he's looking for as an American time trial champion, but his teammates made up for it in the afternoon in Bristol. Rowan Dennis by taking the stage 1 for BMC.
It was so impressive, that victory. Any solo victory is heroic, to say the least, but that was a delivery of seismic proportions. Once he distanced himself, it was well, sheer class and power. And that's why Stevie Cummings jumped off the front of the peloton, because he could see the danger as Rowan Dennis was going away. Could have grabbed a few more seconds, then he could have made this stage be contested totally different, because with the 3 seconds on offer 3 times today plus the bonus, then it would have been different. But fortunately, the lead is, well, enough for Cummings at 26 seconds over Rowan Dennis. Just look at the thousands here that are enjoying it. On the right are all the hospitality areas, people enjoying their glass of whatever and enjoying some lunch. And of course they just move on to the barrier to support the riders. But you can see, can't you, the way it is, a little bit of a slalom course as they approach the final finishing straight. So over the line again, the leading four, 47 seconds the advantage.
So at the front you've got Gabs Colleague, the 20-year-olds from Great Britain. Taylor Finney for BMC at the back there. 26-year-old from America. The national champion in the time trial. And currently the world team time trial champion with BMC. Tom Stewart for Madison Genesis, and Jasper Bovenhaus for An Post Chain Reaction, who has taken the Yodel sprint competition in this race.
Interesting to see Nicholas Roach is also moving himself forward on the left of the peloton. There's the big fella from Lotto Soudal. Big rangy rider on their team, second tallest in the race, and that's Marcel Seberg. No doubt he'll be in the chain when they start to work to try and set it up for the Dutchman. So just inside 50 seconds now, just a tad back, 47 seconds the advantage. Thin line as well now beginning to form here at the back of the peloton. And right at the back there was, I think it was Matt Cronshaw actually, teammate of Tom Stewart, who's in the front group. Ahead there was one of the arenas, wasn't it, I think, for the Olympics where the equestrianism took place.
Is that Horse Guards Parade?
Yes, I think it was, yes.
That's where the start of Ride London is?
Absolutely. So that's where we are always in July for the Classic, which took place, of course, not too long ago. The very, very exciting race. Nearer to the finish again. 16 laps this time. I know I've mentioned it, but I'll do it again. 14 it was 12 months ago. Colleague on the front, looking very businesslike indeed. He's just ridden the Tour de l'Avenir, actually. One or two of these youngsters have. That's the sort of race in France for the younger riders who are hoping to step up and get on a apprenticeship with the top teams.
It's a good race. It used to be for developing riders. I think in the past Greg LeMond won the race and Robert Miller was up there.
Yep.
Developing riders, but they opened it up for a few years, and I actually rode one of the events. They called it the Tour of the EEC. Okay. But they've changed it now to just developing riders.
So they're coming up to the line to start the third and final sprint of this year's tour in the Yodel sprint competition. The overall classification of that competition already won by Jasper Bovenhaus, the Dutchman on the An Post team. And there are 5 more laps to go. How much longer will they be able to enjoy their freedom? Glorious shot of Buckingham Palace, and of course the Mall immediately in front. I reckon he's dropped off. Yep, Jasper Bovenhaus has dropped off the leading group. It doesn't matter. It's job done for him. He'll be on the podium at the end of the stage because he's won the Yodel sprint competition. It's all over. He can just pedal around here now. They're laps of honour for him. So the leading group is now down to 3. Tom Stewart on the front from Taylor Finney. Gabs Colleague sits third wheel.
Well, it just goes to show you here that the pace has been high in this race. The pace has been high in the break of 4, and unfortunately for Jasper Bovenhaus, it's been a bit too fast for him, and he's gone off the back of the original 4 group to leave the 3 riders in front. And he did this the other day, but he'll be on the podium. We'll see a lot more of him later.
Yeah, it's job done for him. They're coming up to the line for the third and final sprint, and as they crossed it, it was Taylor Phinney first from Gabscaleg and Tom Stewart.
They're just picking up Bovenhouse now. He'll be happy, the job done. We see him in a podium. But it just goes to show you that they're not hanging about in this breakaway. And I think Taylor Phinney wants to try and get into this final lap to try and go solo.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. To be a nice sight to see, and also how much power he's got and speed at this stage of the race, whether or not he could hold them off. When we get to the line next time, it'll be the start of the penultimate lap, and the situation now is the gap has been cut right back to 10 seconds. We've been speculating on the possibility of Taylor Phinney trying to go for a long, lone effort on his own, but he's still waiting there with the other two.
And so it looks as if he's going to have a bit of a dig now, but I think it's a little too late.
Yep, having a crack now. Well, Gabscaleg has surrendered, and Tom Phinney is going with Taylor Phinney. But Taylor Phinney, why on earth have you left it so late? I mean, the peloton are looking at you. As you said, he wants to see the whites of their eyes, but it looks as though they may have eased off a tad. So Phinney now having a go here, and he's got the gutsy Yorkshireman Tom Stewart with him. 8 seconds, well, it's gone up just a tad.
Yes,
and
one rider. It's Alex Dowsett
company.
that's come across there. So I thought I saw someone try to go on the class. Alex Dowsett trying to do something late on for Movistar.
So Alex Dowsett coming across, a time trialer supreme. So his power could help immensely here in helping the other two stay clear.
This is a big move for Alex Dowsett, and he's not a sprinter, and you know he comes from Essex, not that far away. He'll have friends and family out, and you know, he hasn't been able to come away with a stage win, but certainly going for it now.
He did win the time trial when it was held in London a few Tour of Britons ago, so he knows what it's like to win a stage. And of course he did have the yellow jersey as well after courageous riding in the Tour a couple of tours ago as well. Now then, look at the gap, it's very slender. Ethics Quick-Step now are really boring down on the leaders, 4 seconds. They are going to get swept up here, so the effort of Alex Dowsett's been in vain. And yep, up they come. Ethics Quick-Step make the junction, well, almost, and we got an attack immediately off the back of the group. And it's Tom Stewart. Stewart going again.
Stewart's found some more legs, but it was a big effort there by Dowsett to go across to them. But Tony Martin, the stage winner from yesterday morning, a very good time trialist, in fact the former world champion, shuts everything down apart from Tom Stewart, who has been on the attack pretty much all day today. Well, that was a big reaction from Tony Martin. He's still doing a turn at the front of the peloton, but as soon as he saw Dowsett go on the attack, you cannot let Alex Dowsett go. He's very similar to Taylor Phinney, two very strong, big, strong riders, and they've shut it down immediately.
So it's the former world time trial champion, the winner of the time trial yesterday in Bristol at the moment, that he's really turning the screw at the front now and trying to keep the pressure on. There's a bit of a handsling there, and that was for Ian Bibby, I think, to put him up into the wheels. Certainly an NFTO rider. Now it's changing on the front, and this is big Ian Stannard that's come onto the head of the contest now, looking to try and lead out his man. That's, I think, Boy Van Poppel in second place.
Yeah, Ian Stannard is setting it away. It's Ben Swift now second place with Riccesi there. You can just see just a little bit further behind, you see Van Poppel and Viviani there. Just behind them, you get one of the Trek Segafredo riders. I think it's Boy Van Poppel, who was in the break the other day. And then you've got the yellow jerseys of Lotto NL Jumbo.
Yeah, Danny Van Poppel is the other sprinter on the Sky team. So Ian Stannard now trying to set it up for Ben Swift, the Yorkshireman, who's won the King of the Mountains in the past in the Tour of Britain. He's also had a stage victory. Second once, third once in the Milan San Remo. Well, now he's left Swifty on the front, Ian Stannard, so he's not going to be the man here, Mark, for the sprint.
Well, as soon as they start swinging left and heading down Whitehall for this hairpin, this is where you really need to get positioned. You see the train of Andre Greipel just waiting and waiting. They will make a move as we start heading down to this hairpin.
Lotto NL Jumbo as well on the right there. Look for the Dutch champion. Yep, he's there on the wheels of his teammates as the pressure once again being lifted on the front by Ben Swift. Ricchesi still sitting in second place. We've got a rider from One Pro. I'm assuming that is still Van Hoff. We're inside 1.6 kilometres to go now.
Here they come, Lotto Soudal trying to take control, as we said, down at Whitehall to this hairpin. It's all about positioning now. On the right-hand side, Lotto NL Jumbo bringing up Groenewegen. Sky still battling. It's a battle for positions as we go into this hairpin now.
Yep. Whoever comes out of this now has got a very good chance of setting up their marked sprinter. Lotto NL Jumbo come out at the head of the contest, looking after Dylan Groenewegen, the Dutch champion. He's looking back to see where he is, and he's a few wheels further back. Then it is Sky, and Viviani's up there with those gold shoes in third place. Ricchesi, the Argentinian from Etixx Quick Steps there. But here comes the burst of speed from Lotto Soudal. The three men beginning to wind it up now to set it up for Andre Greipel, the German champion. And also coming through are Orica, trying to set it up for Caleb Ewan. And also in there is Groenewegen as they're getting nearer and nearer then to the left and right that'll line them up for the run to the line. It's still Lotto Soudal.
He's let the gap go. Greipel's let the gap go to De Bucheren.
And it's De Bucheren now on the front, the former Belgian road champion. He's on the front, and it's still Ricchesi trying to chase him down. De Bucheren has the head of the race. Has he got the power up the final climb to the finish to hang on to the stage victory? He's got a good advantage. It was Greipel that left the gap. Boy Van Poppel is in second place. Groenewegen is lying in third. And Caleb Ewan is up there in fourth into the finishing straight. It is De Bucheren, and then it is Boy Van Poppel. Then it's Caleb Ewan on the extreme left. Ewan is coming through on the extreme left. The Australian's going to get it. Caleb Ewan's going to take it. Caleb Ewan takes it on the line. A brilliant finish. Looked like Dylan Groenewegen was second and will tidy up third. What a sprint. Brilliant time in there by the rider on Orica Bike Exchange, Caleb Ewan. The sheer power of Caleb Ewan. Absolutely awesome. Swept past De Bucheren to take the stage. Celebration spilling over there for Caleb Ewan. What a victory. The result of the final stage in London, Caleb Ewan winning from Dylan Groenewegen, third Jens De Bucheren. Super Aussie sprinter riding for Orica Bike Exchange, Caleb Ewan clinches the final stage. Jasper Bovenhuis wins the Yodel Sprints jersey competition. Sandro Maurice of Wanty Group Gobert is the Skoda King of the Mountains champion. The Chain Reaction points jersey goes to Dutch champion Dylan Groenewegen. And Team Sky are the overall team winners. And the final overall standings, first Steve Cummings, second Rowan Dennis, third Tom Dumoulin. Let's hear from Steve Cummings.
I'm delighted. Finally I can smile and enjoy it. It's been a tough week, and it was so close. It wasn't done until I crossed the line, and I'd like to thank all my teammates for doing such a good job all week and keeping me out of trouble and sacrificing their own chances, and also thank the British public for supporting every day like they have. It's been amazing. It's been a great week.
A magnificent end to what has been a stunning edition of the Tour of Britain. We're still here on Regent Street. I'm pleased to say that Ed Clancy is still with me, Janto Barker as well, and this man, Sir Bradley Wiggins. Sir Brad, that's it. It's all done. The road is finished. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy actually. I'm happy just to be back in London, to be honest, because I think early in the week there was times where I thought that this is going to be quite a challenge just to make it to London. It's been a brutal edition of the race. I think probably the hardest edition of the Tour of Britain the last few years, certainly. And added to that, the fact we're not really very well prepared for this race, having come off the back of an Olympic Games and all the celebrations that went on after. But I'm delighted to be here now. So.
You're carrying a little bit of extra timber, as they say. You have to do for the team pursuit. And we've got another slacker over there who's decided not to race this year. But it's hard to go from the track to the road when it's at this high level.
Yeah, I think it's just such a vast difference. I mean, one event, it's 4 minutes long. It's about absolute power. And this is about day after day. I mean, we were out there for 6 hours some days, and it's just so different. And as I say, kind of obviously with the post-Rio celebrations and not riding our bikes for a couple of weeks and then getting back to this. But as I say, I'm glad I did it now. I'm glad we're here. It's been an incredible week. We've been so well received wherever we've been through the country. The public have come out in their droves and finished off in London here today. You've seen the reception everyone's got. And a good mate and another British winner in Steve Cummins.
Ed, perhaps you more than anybody can empathise with how difficult it is stepping off the track in Rio just a few weeks back.
Yeah, being a track specialist, you rarely have good days on the road, but after such a big track preparation, such a ruthless focus on just a few 4-minute rounds, you really don't give any consideration whatsoever to how well you're going to go over a week-long stage race. And I'm very glad at this point in time that I didn't bother having a go myself.
And Janto, as a veteran of 6 Tours of Britain, well, you'll appreciate just how bad a choice it was for Sir Brad making this one his last one. One of the most difficult yet.
It's funny to think of someone so decorated in the sport to be at the back, but it does highlight just how different the two disciplines are. And you can't specialise for 12 months for one and then just swap over in 3 weeks and start another one. And that was proved here this week. But it has been a huge race, so hard fought and such a high level.
Brad, that's it for the road racing, but we know you're going to go back to the track for a couple of 6-dayers. Tell us about those.
Yeah, obviously their tradition is the 6th day in the winter season, and obviously as world champion now with Mark Cavendish that we won in London back in March. We're going to finish the season off with the London 6th day, and then obviously the tradition historic of people that are aware of it, the Ghent 6th day in Belgium in November. And it'll be a nice one to end it all on, and keeps me occupied for just a couple more months on the track, but that's certainly it now for the road. And again, what a way to finish here, really. So brilliant.
Ghent brings it full circle. This is where you were born.
Yeah, my dad was racing there as a professional, so I was born there, and my earliest memories of being in that track when I was a kid. So it's that was one of the reasons why I chose to end there.
Of course, you've won the Tour of Britain previously. Just a final word about how much you've enjoyed racing here on home roads.
Yeah, I mean, just obviously we race not so much anymore, but week after week in Europe, France, Italy, Spain, what have you, and it's just really nice to come back to the UK and go into British hotels, English telly on in the evenings, and I think for everyone just to receive the support you get through the race. I mean, cycling's booming. Each year it just seems to get better and better, and obviously as us lot go, and myself, Cav and everyone, there's a new generation of people coming through, the likes of the Yates brothers, and so on, and it's I think it's it's in good hands, the sport, for the next few years, and hopefully it'll just carry on with a new generation of superstars.
And I know you're not going to sit still, but for the meantime, I think I speak for everybody here who loves their road racing. We've hugely enjoyed just how successful you are. I think it's fair to say, well, you won't let me say one of, you would let me say the best road cyclist this country's produced.
Yeah, I don't know, that's quite a big title. I think just, I've done what I've done, and obviously, you've got the like Chris Froome out there now, producing what he's producing, probably the best Grand Tour rider of his generation, and still up there for me always with Mark Cavendish. Really, he's kind of someone I look always he's one of his biggest fans, as I know Ed is, and what he's achieved, with 30 stages in the Tour, world road race champion, Milan-San Remo winner, and obviously he's got a world championship next month as well, which he could win, and for me he's up there with Simpson as our country's best. So yeah, there's so many though, and I'm sure look at the season Steve Cummins has had. I mean, probably has to be put up there as probably our best British rider this year. I know Cav will hate me for saying that, but you look, Tour de France stage winner, Tirreno Adriatico, Basque Country, Dauphiné, Tour of Britain winner, and it's brilliant, yeah.
Ed, Janto, Sir Brad, thank you very much indeed. And with that, he's gone from the road, and so are we. It's been a fantastic race this year. We hope you've enjoyed it. We'll be back next year with more of the Tour of Britain. For now, thanks for your company. See you then. Bye-bye.
Takes it, first place on the line. McClay, or was it Groenewegen? It's Jack Bauer that takes the stage. Cummings comes through. That's the man that we were waiting for. Caleb Ewan's going to take it. Caleb Ewan takes it on the line.